I had several questions regarding different portions of the videos that I've put out. A couple of them are about the minds, what I mean by finding your mind, and the other questions were allowed and not allowed. I'm going to just try to briefly go through all of this and just try to get to some understanding of what's going on. So we're going to go through kind of the tree of life again and try to organize this so that you get a better understanding of what's going on. If we have Earth here and we have Gaia's mind here, the world soul object, and in between we have our ladder. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 steps to get through the ladder. If we go down here, we say that this is the second dimension. And this is the fourth dimension. And everything else is the third dimension. So if we come across, I guess I won't put the lines here. If we call all this the third dimension. Now, Earth is in God's mind. Is in the Father's mind. Everything here in this world and all the world in our universe is in God's mind. So everything here is solid. Everything here is existing all the time. It's not a matrix. It's not. It's in God's mind. Whatever it is, it is. But as far as we know, it's solid. It's where we're living, and everything is from this world. So in the beginning of this world, when it starts to form, it was determined that this would be an inherited world. So this is the key to this. This is an inherited world. Other life forms from another world that was dying would come to Earth to live here. This world was prepared for them. Everything here living is what was on their planet. Man wasn't supposed to become something here. Our humans. It was for another race of people that were supposed to come here to inherit this world. I call them Delta Fett, but I've found that they never made it here, and because of the sun and his messing around, that never happened, but this world was supposed to be inherited. So if we go back down here and we look at the dimensions, and then we come into the third dimension and I talk about nothing. And I want to briefly go over nothing again. Let's move this. Nothing has 5 parts. Nothing is the first piece. This is nothing by itself. But then nothing is itself inside itself, inside itself, inside itself. 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And inside of itself. Now, when nothing comes up here, when nothing comes from the second dimension, comes up into the first dimension, I kind of spread it apart here, but this would be inside itself. So what it would do is it would take the smallest things and it would start to pile into itself. Atoms, time itself, everything. The smallest particles you can think of. If you think of a cell with a nucleus, and you think of all the different things that are inside of that cell, it would become something inside of not the first nothing, but probably the second nothing. And it wouldn't just become a cell, it would become many things. It would protozoa, anything microscopic would become something in this very first nothing. So it would start to become all the things inside of itself that it can become. And because of its inherited world, and these are yourselves, there's nothing inside of them except for the pattern of the inherited light, inherited world. So what would be inside of them is all the different things that are supposed to become something here. Now, they're just sitting there like a windsock, and all of a sudden, the smallest protozoa dies, and its soul moves into the veil, and it would open. It would be caught by nothing, and it would end up in nothing. Nothing would sit there and say, "Oh, it can become something inside of me." So it will allow that soul to become something inside of it. So if it doesn't, if you think about it, if it doesn't fit inside nothing, it can't become something here. It would just move through. It wouldn't get caught by nothing. If it's something that could be something here, then it filters it out and it gets trapped inside of it and it becomes something. Now, nothing will look at it and it will try to become it. And it will keep trying to become that until it can become something. So now that thing can become something here. And it will come out onto the earth and it will just keep allowing it and keep allowing it till it's here all the time. Water molecules, everything. So nothing is allowing everything on our planet to become something again and again. And then once it can become itself by itself, then it will always become something here. Then once nothing is filled up and it can't become itself anymore, there's nothing else for it to become, it wants to become something again. So it'll become everything inside of itself to become something again. So nothing starts out here again. But you got to realize he moved up into yourself again. So there's nothing inside of it. Now all of a sudden it starts coming through. Things that are dying and they're coming through and they're being filtered out. And he'll do this 5 times as these minds fill up. These are nothing's minds. Or the angel. I call it angel. The angel's minds. So 5 times. He's got 5 minds. 5 minds. And then, once he's become nothing inside of himself, to become himself only, then he would be able to become something. But since this is an inherited world, and they didn't want, no life was supposed to be here, no human life, nothing wouldn't become something here. The sun made sure that no human, at this point, there wouldn't be humans anyway. This would be down on the most microscopic first things that are forming. Dirt, iron, materials, gold, anything on the table of elements. The most smallest particles you can think of. Now, they've allowed all that, then he'll move up. Gaia, she'll become herself. Now, he can't move up until Gaia becomes herself. So now she becomes herself. She's become everything inside herself that she can become. Now she wants to become herself again. So she'll move back out to go into 2. That opens up this second window. This becomes another mind. Now, these socks, or this nothing, keeps coming through. What's coming through here, dying, moving through, and it moves up into that first world. These minds will always be here. This is part of nothing. Nothing will remain here. Now this becomes one mind. One something. This something always keeps nothing open. But this something isn't human, so it has no mind. It's becoming something that's inside of it. It's becoming everything inside of it to become this one something. So something out there in these smallest realm are that keep being allowed, that all the things that he's allowed, all the things that were inside of him are coming through here and becoming something. So this keeps the door open. As long as there's a mind there, this will keep opening. This will stay open. As long as this keeps becoming something out here on the earth, this will stay open. This will be allowed to come through. And this world, this is a world. This is Earth. This Earth is microscopically built inside of Gaia out of the smallest things possible. Same thing will happen here, and it'll keep coming up. Nothing will keep coming up, and you have to have all these minds. These are all these minds up to become something. Now this something is bigger. Now you have a mind inside of a mind, and we're moving up. So by the third, you'd have 3 minds. We keep moving up. Gaia would become something again out of these other things that are all allowed to become something here. And they all become something inside of themselves. So we have all these minds. We have, if we start to count it, we'll have 25 minds we have to have. 25 minds to create the one mind, or the 5 minds that would be inside of us. So if we've become ourselves all the way to the top, we'd have 5 minds inside of us. If when I'm in meditation, I can open my crown, I can open up 5 times. There's 5 different crowns. I can move into each one of these different pools by saying which pool I want to become something in. If I want to become something in pool 1, I have to become nothing inside myself to become myself in pool 1. Pool 2, pool 3, pool 4, pool 5. So it's, and we'd have 4 here, 4 minds. This is us becoming something here. Now, like I said, we weren't supposed to be here, but the sun allowed us to become something here. The sun had other plans. So he brought man from other places, other worlds. And I believe that he brought them out through the hollows, once these worlds became something, and he actually walked them out onto the world here. Out through the hollows. And when you're in the hollow, your soul is no longer attached to this. Your mind is no longer attached to this when you're in the hollow. So when you exit the hollow, you come out with no mind, no memory of what's going on here. You'd have no memory of anything. You come out with no memory of anything. So these men would walk out onto the earth. Different places the hollow opens up and allows us to become something in these places. And though I have no definitive proof of the hollow, there is enough proof online, the hollow earth, and I've seen it. I've been in and actually witnessed it several times myself, that these places do exist. I come out through a shallow in a pool, and I could look up through and I could see a ski boat moving across the water. So I know that these entrances and exits do exist here on Earth, and I know that they're in different frequencies or vibrations. There's different doorways that allow people to move through these, to come out onto the Earth through these, through the hollow. And I know that's why the sun blocked the 4th, because he didn't want man to come through there. Now people were asking, well, where's my mind? What minds am I looking for? Well, these 5 minds. In every layer you have, you're going to have 5 minds to become something here. So you have to find all 5 of these minds to become something here, all 5 of these minds to become something here, all 5 of your minds to become something here. It's not meant to be complicated because your minds know where they're at. But because of what the sun did and creating the blockade between us, we have no real way of connecting to them. And a lot of people aren't seeing them. We don't see them at all. So when I'm looking for my mind, I would say, Pawesi, find your mind in meditation. Now, here's the biggest problem. Let's let me just see. Okay, now the other question I had was why allowed souls and not allowed souls. Let's go here real quick. Okay, in the beginning, when man started to form, let's say he started to form in the second dimension or second frequency, and man started to form, and the sun had placed men into the pool to be caught and placed them into these minds to allow these minds to become them. Now, when he did that, like I said, you know, they'll grab the smallest thing. So all of a sudden, man became something inside of this mind. Now, this angel, nothing, or angel, became that man. Now, that isn't the only man that's going to end up inside of nothing. There might be 10 or 20 or 100 men that'll end up inside of this one nothing. He can become many things at the same time until he can become himself only. That's what happens when he keeps getting bigger and bigger. He wants to become himself only, but he can't. So, but the only way for him to become something is by becoming many things inside of himself. So he might, by the time he's here, he might have 1,000 men inside of him, becoming something there. And he doesn't want to do that. He wants to become himself only. So this is why I say we're allowed. The allowed, he's found one mind inside of him that he liked. The one that was good. And I see this in allowed souls a lot of times is that we tend to have a better outlook on life. We're not greedy. We're not, you know, we're not out to hurt anything. We see life as it is. We see, so they chose us because of our heart, because we have a good heart, because we passed the tests to become something again. And they chose us. So when they allowed us, they allowed this one mind. Now everything else inside of them can't become something again. They've chose one mind that they want to become from now on. So they start becoming that mind. All the other things, animals, creatures, you know, kangaroos, dogs, fox, all these things, also they'll just push them out and allow them. Once they find a mind, they want to be that mind. So all these other things they'll allow, the fox, the hound, the rabbit, they'll allow them. And then what they'll do is that rabbit will keep becoming itself here. And it'll just keep becoming itself. So once they allow it, they won't allow it again and again and again. It's basically become its own mind's mind. If they don't allow it, it can't keep becoming something. What happens is the first time I'm born and I die, I go into myself and then everything just goes gone. There's nothing there. But if I'm inside of the angel and he's decided to allow me, what he'll do is he'll push me out and he'll make me become something again. So he's going to force me out to become something again and I'll be born here again. Now the second lifetime, I'm going to become myself many times in my lifetime. And I'm going to become more. And the third and the fourth and fifth lifetimes, we're going to become more and more. Pretty soon, we're actually becoming nothing. We're becoming more and more things inside of ourselves. We're actually, I should say, we're actually becoming the angel. The angel's finding a mind that he wants to become. So that's why I call us allowed, is because we're becoming everything inside of him. He's transcoding over to us. He wants to become us. So we become his mind. We're the thing that he wants to become. He doesn't want to become anything else inside of him, so that's why nothing else is allowed to become something. Only the number of people that they've allowed. If he's a male, he'll always be a male. If it's a female, there'll always be a female. So you'll always have that. Some people say, well, and some people say, well, I'm connected to these other people. Yeah, you are, because in life we might have 1,000 people inside that one mind, and you know they go inside. You have an astral projection or OBE and stuff like that. You're gonna be part of these different experiences, but not usually not allowed because there's not enough in them to pull them into these projections. So you might have a lot of allowed souls. So you're going to have other nothings coming face to face, you know, and they'll come up, and you can have many of them here and creating a projection that you can actually enter into. And a lot of the people that you see in the projection aren't allowed, and them are other things that are inside of him. But pretty soon he's going to get to the point where he's going to become nothing inside him, just to become you only. He wants to become himself only. And so that is the reason why there's only so many allowed. The allowed is only the number of angels that actually began here. So if there's only 500 million, these angels don't want everything else inside them. They only want the allowed soul inside them, the one that kept becoming itself over and over again. That's why we have allowed and unallowed. And the same thing happens with everything else, and why there's only 500 million or so allowed of everything, and why our DNA and everything keeps staying on track. As long as there's allowed in the pool, we keep keeping everything the way that it is. So because allowed is always the first things to be born. If everything on the planet died and you're down to 2 people, the baby born will be an allowed soul. The next baby born will be an allowed soul, up to that 500 million, and then it would start out with not allowed after that. So it'll always be the allowed come first, and then everything else after that. I don't know if that helps explain that. Let's look at meditation a little bit, and the third eye. I just want to cover this and how I see this, and if this is me and I'm sitting here and I'm in meditation, a lot of people talk about the third eye, you know, being up here, you know, when you're in meditation, you're looking out in meditation. Well, you actually, if you could figure it out, or if you understood it, you actually have 5 minds inside of you. And I can pull back into all 5 minds and look in these different pools. So I can pull into myself, into myself, into myself, and actually look out through this mind. So, or forward into this mind, or this one, or this one. And I can see into the different pools. Now, a lot of people are looking for, what do I do when I'm in meditation? You know, I don't even silence my mind. I'm watching what's happening in front of me. I guess I see minds when I close my eyes. And I just start asking questions, and they can project images. You can, if I have the face of a mind's mind looking at me like that, he can actually push that away. He can make people standing in here. He could, I've had grids where they've shown me grids, or I've had it where they'll come up and they'll show me waterfalls or water. They'll ask different questions about things, or they'll see different things and they'll ask questions about how that's there. But, you know, when I'm not looking, when you're inside of yourself and you have these different minds, whatever, there's eyes. We have our eyes. So when I close my eyes, I just pull back a little bit. I just pull back just a little bit. Now, everything in the veil wants to keep you from becoming something there. So they're going to come up and they're going to cloud you. They're going to cloud your eyes. And then you're sitting there in meditation, and you might hear voices, because there's minds in here. There's tons and tons of minds in here. Pieces of mind from what the sun did. It left all these minds all over the place. So there's minds in there, and they'll create images. And sound. They can come around your head and they'll create sounds. So you can hear sounds there. Now the other thing is that when you're inside of yourself here looking, you're actually in your mind's mind. I know this is complicated. So you're inside of your mind's mind. So these minds can get stuck inside of your mind's mind. We kind of think that we're there, but this separates everything. These minds separate. When we're in meditation, they're right here, but they're in the world, you know. If I'm sitting here and I call somebody into me, or call somebody to me, they'll come and they'll move right up to me. Now I can go out and I can enter into them. I could go down inside of them, and I could find you inside of your mind's mind, down in here. So what happens is when I'm face to face, I can pull everything out of you. I can pull bad things out of you or anything. And them pieces of your mind will end up into my mind's mind. Now, a lot of people are doing this to themselves. They're attacking each other, and they don't realize what they're doing. Because when you start saying, "Oh, I'm going to help clear Billy Ann or whatever," and she's online and I'm online, and we're sitting there, and all of a sudden we're face to face, and we're pissed off at each other. Her minds are coming over here and they're entering up into mine. So all of a sudden I start having bad thoughts and blah blah blah. I end up with her in my mind's mind. I might even end up with a nightmare or a dream with her in it, you know, hitting me or something because I pissed her off. Well, little self-defense would be is I need to become nothing inside myself to become myself only, or I need Billy Joe to become nothing inside myself to become herself only. I want to clear my mind's mind out. I want to become nothing inside myself to become myself only. And if you learn that command, you'll find that you'll be so much freer in your mind, because you get rid of all the negativity that's around you. You get everything pushed out, and the only mind that's left in there is your own. You get to understand yourself a little bit better. I think that would be the easiest command to learn. And you can constantly do that. Now when you're in meditation, you can do that too. I need to become nothing inside myself to become myself only. And then start to look forward, and your eye will open. I don't know, call your third eye, whatever. But your astral eye will open up, and you'll be able to see something sitting in front of you. Now it can be either a white wall standing in front of you, or you'll start to see fog coming up and try to fog you over. You can say, become nothing inside myself to become yourself only. But you got to repeat it several times until you see that fog dissipate and move away. And then you'll be able to start to see some of this stuff that's going on in here. Try not to get into binaural beats. Don't try to get into... You know, I always thought binaural beats was helping me out, but what it does, it actually pulls me into almost a phase. The frequency sometimes does help. If you're having troubles and you need something to concentrate on, the frequencies will help. But for the most part, I just try to sit in silence and just look forward and look ahead. Try not to fall asleep, or try not to fall into phase, because you'll start to see images pretty soon. You're like, I can see this, I can see that, I'm getting information. You're not. You're just, something's coming up, and basically they're asking you questions, they're showing you something that's off the wall. The more and more you do this, the better and better you are at interpreting what you're seeing. Then yeah, you might be able to interpret what their mind's saying to you, or what they look like, or what their mind's mind thinks that they're looking like. And I guess that's the biggest thing, is I try to see how aware that mind's mind is when I am connecting to somebody. If I come back with a picture in my mind that they have brown hair and blue eyes, and in reality they have blonde hair, green eyes, your mind's mind is not aware of you. I mean, but it would show me if you're a female or a male, or its thoughts of that. So yeah, if it's more masculine or feminine, even then it may not even be aware of itself. The sun did this. He screwed everybody up. He made it so nobody understood themselves. And we don't understand that this piece here is connected to you in every way. People talk about, you know, these funnels, these chakra inputs, which are like funnels. Well, they're mind's mind, but you only have one mind's mind. You don't have all these pieces, and they're not all these chakra funnels and all that. It's just you're actually more like the funnel than anything. And this is what you are. You're a mind's mind. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to become yourself. The angels chose you if you're unallowed. If you're not allowed, you won't become something again. The other pathway is that he would incorporate tree mends. And they're almost like a snake, you know. And even when our minds come together, we can become something like this. But inside of them is a place for minds to go. And they'll come up here and they'll move into your tree men, and they'll pull everything out of you that can't become something again. Mom, Dad, Bill, Bob, you know, Grace, and whoever. They'll pull them out, and then they'll put them in here. Now this goes to Gaia, and you bring it over, and Gaia has their own mind's mind. And they'll bring it up to Gaia, and it'll release everything inside of her that can't become something again. So they do get a chance, and like I said, Gaia will produce a world, especially for those minds that can't become something again. But they won't become, it doesn't mean that they can't become something again in their own minds inside of these worlds that she creates. They just can't become something in the world that God created, or inside of the world that the minds are creating. This crossover here. They become something here inside the veil. So I don't know if that helped. So, you know, I don't know if that helps or not. I hope that kind of addresses a couple of the questions that people were having. If you do have any questions, please post them on my Facebook. It's Powessi Torxt. Or you can try to find, you know, through my videos, you can post right below and let me know. Is there something about this that you don't understand, you want to understand better? Let me know. Thank you very much.